This is Dr. Tongie. I'm from a little town called Columbus, Mississippi, and I've come all the way here to show you exactly how you can live abundantly. Fear is nothing. You hear me? You can do anything you put your mind to. I'm your girl, Dr. Tongie. We're gonna do life together. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are you doing? I don't know about you, but I am about to burst out of my skin. I am so serious. Tonight, we've got a phenomenal legacy that has graced our stage, our studio. So, all right, you know how we do it, right? I know. Good evening, family. Proper introduction. I'm Dr. Tongie, and on this platform, you know me as Tongie. And welcome to another edition of Talk to Tongie. Oh boy, I'm trying to be cool here, man. I really am. But, you know, when transformation comes into your life, you can't help but tell it. I am so incredibly blessed to get up every day and do exactly what I know I was born to do, man. Seriously, that's plant words and seeds of encouragement to remind you just who you are, but more important than that, whose you are. You are so great. You are so powerful. You can do anything you put your mind to, baby. Yes, you can. See, I like to talk to folk who got some stories to tell, and each one of us have a story, and I need to remind you of that. I need your story to come to life for so many other people. See, oftentimes we think what we're going through really is about us, and we get stuck right there, but it's not if you dig a little deeper. If you open your heart a little wider, you'll understand that your purpose has purpose. And when I say that, I mean that from the bottom of my mama used to say, my sanctified soul. I believe in transformation, and that's what this show is about. I believe in purpose-driven living. And every voice, every story shared here proves that we are exactly where we're supposed to be. So, with that being said, I want you to roll your sleeves up. And as I would tell my children, take copious notes. Because we're going to be in a master class this evening. When I first heard this woman's voice, thank you, Dr. Cherry, I was at Sandals Grand, and you can support the show too, Sandals. My shameless plug. And I was in the audience, and I was like a little kid, man, anticipating that something great was about to happen. And the lights dimmed, and the spotlight shone, and there was this little lady. I call her little lady, little in stature, but great in volume. She's a woman of substance, and she graced the stage, and she had her golden attire on, right? Hence the gold tonight. And she opened her voice. She opened her mouth, and out of her mouth, out of her soul, her mind, her will, and her emotion, they got in line. And she began to sing. And I sat there as a child, and I was so mesmerized by what I was hearing and what I was witnessing and what I was experiencing. And you can't see the goosebumps here, but they were there just like now. And everyone around me were singing along. They were singing her songs. And she was just doing what she was supposed to do. When I tell you that this woman is so filled with purpose, that just being in this studio this evening brought so many tears to so many people. One woman said, she sang at my mom's funeral. Another woman said, when her songs came on, Dr. Tongie, if you were dancing on the dance floor, you could feel, and you just stood there and you swayed with the music. And I'm standing there trying to be cool, calm, and collected, right? And I began to cry. And I tried not to cry because I didn't want the makeup to run. But when I heard what she has done for generations to generation, and I saw the effect that she had on people, I knew then that this was bigger, so much bigger than I could have ever imagined. See, before I introduce to some and remind a whole nation, this show is not about Tongie. Please hear me when I say that. I'm on a mission to tell your story, to bring light to where light needs to be. Because sometimes we live in a world that is so dark and it's so obscured by opinions and failures that sometimes we think we are not good enough, or we've missed the mark, or it's too late. But I've come to remind you, you just getting started. And I really do mean that. So I wrote a little something about this woman, all right? I won't go into all of it because she's going to come in a way that only she can come. This woman was born in Castries, St. Lucia. She's celebrated as a vocalist whose career spans several decades, as I said before. She's known for her ballads, her jazz, her cadence. Some have even labeled her as the Caribbean Queen of Soul. How about that? She's full of strength. She's full of purpose. And when you hear her voice, you gonna know just who I'm talking about. So without further ado, and I could go on and on about this amazing soul, why don't we allow her to open up the way perhaps your mom or your dad, the way they remember. Would you please, my beautiful lady, give us a verse or two of a song that resonates with so many. Take it away.
Okay, so I think my love, forgive me. I didn't mean to hide it like this. I didn't mean to have you fall in love with me. My love, please kiss me. Arrivederci, amore, kiss me. Remember when we part, you'll have my heart. I love you so. Hello, Santosha. Hello, everybody. Everyone listening. Far afield on the air. I'm happy to be here this evening with Dr. Tongie. About that.
Didn't I tell you? Okay, let me try. I'm so glad he's calling for a break. Stay tuned. I'm going to get freshened up, man. You'll probably need to wipe your eyes, too. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Take a moment. Inhale purpose. Exhale distraction. And we are back. Just in case you're just tuning in, right? How dare you miss that opening? I am so excited. And I told you once, I'll tell you this again. My life, I honestly believe, will never be the same after this night. You know, when you meet someone that has such substance, such reason, such purpose, you want to sit at their feet and glean from them. So we're going to get into the woman behind the voice. All right? Miss Patsy. I used to call you Patsy. You crazy? I'm calling you Miss Patsy. I'm from Mississippi. We know better. Your upbringing in Castries and early love of music, how did that shape where you wanted to be to where you are now?
It made quite a surprising difference because in growing up, you know, you have wild thoughts. You want to do several things. I've had so many different areas I wanted to be involved in, and I didn't seek singing. Singing sought me.
How about that?
Yeah. And it has been an amazing trip. Considering I never thought about it as it presented itself to me, I think it's been phenomenal. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It has brought me out to actually it sought me out because I had been doing stuff, and I want people to hear this. It's not about money. It's about giving from your heart. It's about giving from nothing. You know?
Yes, ma'am.
You may have nothing substantial or physical to give, but giving of yourself is so much more rewarding. And that's all I had, myself. So I've given a lot of myself to a lot of people.
Wow.
Not even only through singing, in other ways.
For sure.
You know?
I was listening to an interview you had given, and I'm thinking, wow. And you mentioned how you would go to the hospitals and you would serve, and I kept thinking, wow. And then what really resonated with me and made me want to do even the more was your ability to go into prisons, which you speak on why that was so important, even just getting started. Why would that be so important to you?
Oh, it was, I was a ranger. And this is something I pride myself with, having been a ranger, because this sort of helped me form who I am. And about giving. And we worked for badges. We had certain things to do in order to receive badges of certain caliber and so on. So at one point, my duty was to serve. I would go to the prisons and talk with people there, listen to their story, because sometimes there's not much I can do for them, but just to listen. Sometimes people just want to talk to somebody. And I would sit there and listen, give a word of encouragement and so on. I would go to the hospital, working for another badge, and help the nurse. And I remember the first day I went, what I had to do was like, it was awesome. I had to sponge a lady who just had surgery, and I don't want to go into it. You can just imagine, you know? Yeah. And I did it. And then I'd go to the mental hospital and interact with the inmates and play games with them and make them feel comfort, sense of being wanted, you know, like Even if sometimes they would sidetrack, they're not with me at all, but they come back.
Wow.
And you know, you tell stories and sing songs and do little things with them to make them feel like they had a good afternoon.
Wow.
You know, and so that's what it was about, all those badges and so on. And I'll tell you something.
Yes, ma'am.
The badges,
Yeah.
it's not the material thing.
For sure.
I too gained a lot out of,
Come on.
you know.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I gained so much.
Wow.
I know that in many, many ways, I'm different to a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may look very stupid. You may look very like, you know,
Yeah.
but that's not what it's about. It's about what's inside of you that's coming out to people who are not on the same wavelength.
Come on.
You know?
Yes,
So-
ma'am. Come on.
So yeah, it helped formed me to be me.
Wow.
And I am quite a me.
And me too. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. Miss Patsy, what was the moment you knew I've got the voice?
Oh, wow. I didn't think I had one. No, I'll tell you, at school, yearly I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, but we have examiners, we call them, come down to examine the ladies at school doing piano lessons and so.
Okay.
And at one point, after those periods were over, we were being checked out vocally
Yeah.
to so that to join the
For sure.
school choir, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I came out, and it was like, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
it was horrible. It was horrible, but I think it was all because of lack of confidence. Not that I couldn't sing, but lack of self-confidence, not understanding enough of what was going on at the time and so on.
Yeah.
And then the second time it happened, I was like, in soprano, you know?
All right,
You
now.
know? and those activities that I did at school became so much a part of my being.
Amen.
Being in the school choir, being a ranger. Being a ranger was phenomenal.
Really?
The things we had to do. And I always seem to do so well, you know? It's
Yeah.
yeah, so going to where I really figured I would get into singing was still with the Ranger Company.
Okay.
We would have periodical shows.
Okay.
Christmas,
Okay.
summer, Easter, you know. And it happened there.
Wow.
I didn't know it was happening,
Wow.
but it was happening. The first song I sang on stage was See the Pyramids Along the Line.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I know that song.
And then there was somebody calling the school. They wanted me to perform somewhere because I have said so many times that I could not go out and perform just without not letting the school know. They gave me the permission, not my mom.
Wow.
Even if she said she could go,
Yeah.
I had to go through the school.
Okay.
So then our superior at the time, Sister Anna,
Yeah.
would have to say yes, she can or no, she can't.
For sure.
We got a few no's.
Oh, really?
Once it was for the JCs
Yeah.
and so on. Yes, the JCs put on a lot of charity shows and so on. And I was on a lot of them since, you know. So that's where you start growing and knowing that something is happening. And the people were there with me. I had the support from those such shows at school. So it was like a great foundation already, you know. So,
My gosh.
yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You said something. You said confidence. And oftentimes we lack confidence.
Yes.
Even if you're skillful,
Doesn't
right?
matter how much you have.
Come on.
Yeah.
Would you speak on, and you spoke on it, but the confidence to do what you were doing, did it come with the repetition of your doing it, or was it something that you decided, you know what, I can do this? How did you get that?
Okay, it comes both ways, you know. Like when you repeat and repeat, you grow, right?
Yes.
But then you have to talk to yourself.
Come on now.
What am I going wrong? What is it I need? And so on. And you would find some people talk to you and they put you down. What do you do with them?
Wow.
You know?
Huh.
Because they're not helping you get there.
Come on.
So what do? Move away.
Come on.
And you focus. And I would talk to people, certain people.
Yeah.
I would talk to them and ask them, what else can I do? I don't like this about myself and I don't like that. And they would say, nothing is wrong, you know, you just need a little something.
Yeah.
And they give you sound advice.
There you go.
You know, and and you can grow very beautifully from getting sound advice. Because no man is an island. No matter what you have, what qualities you have to be able to coordinate with other people so you could grow better. Yeah. You need a little manure, a little, you know, a little water or something so you could.
Yeah. I am so loving this. Oh my gosh. I feel like kicking off my shoes and taking my notepad out because just your presence alone speaks volumes of who you are. And I know I'm all over the place. I swear to you, I'm going to stick to the script, but it is so mind-boggling to see people in their own element. All you did was walk through the door and you shifted the atmosphere. You really did. And it's not like you were trying to shift it, okay? Like, hey, look at me. You just came in and took a seat. But before you could even sit down and relax, there were those memories that you were jarring for so many people. How does that make you feel?
Oh my goodness. Let's not talk about it because I'm going to cry.
Oh, it's okay. On this show we cry and we sweat.
No, it's overwhelming. It's beautiful. It's it cannot be more positive. You know, it tells me a lot that I have done something right. You know, even if I wasn't aware of it, I realize like it's starting to happen to me now. When I meet people like today, I would not have thought that I left this impression behind. You know, I used to come here a lot. In fact, I have other stories about this
place, right?
This area. I actually lived on this area at one point, but we're not going into that.
Hey, we'll get there in a minute. I'm sorry.
Well, it was just a home, you know. It used to be just a home, a little home, you know. But anyway, getting in here, and then in the days, we haven't touched that part yet, but I used to come here to sell my pastries.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I went around with my basket of pastries and I came to different offices.
Yeah.
And this is one of the stops I would pick. So that's how I know everybody. No, not everybody. That's how I met Anne, but other people I knew before.
For sure.
But it's like I'm feeling at home with everybody. Your young lady downstairs, I was in her family as a family friend, you know. And everywhere I go, I meet such persons, and I don't believe it really. It's
wow.
Is that what kept me going? Maybe.
Yes. How about that? Segueing into something that we kind of touched on the way up, and it was such an amazing time just being in your presence coming up here. Your balance of personal fortitude, the sacrifices that you had to make, and you made some sacrifices, and we don't have to go all in your business, but for someone who's watching and they're thinking, if I don't get a sign from God this evening, I'm gonna close up shop. Would you speak on some of the sacrifices that you had to make and you didn't mind making, but you did it?
Okay. I will say first of all that I am made of a particular kind of stuff.
Come on.
I had a mother I had a mother. She was hilarious because the things she would do because she had to do it, I think back now and it's like I could only laugh. And I have inherited a lot of that. I left everything in St. Lucia and I moved away to Grenada to start or continue a life.
Yeah.
It was horrendous. I met lovely people in Grenada. I had a lot of friends and so on, but my personal life was traumatic.
Gotcha.
So I decided my first daughter was already at convent, and my second one had to do exams. And I decided as soon as she's through with exams, I'm out.
Wow.
She did exams. I went to the headmistress. I was very close to everybody pertaining to the school. It's like something that happens with me naturally.
For sure.
The headmistress, like, bless her soul, she's departed now, but she was very close to me. And she stood up for me at all counts because a lot of things went on.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So I went to her and I said to her, the time has come.
Yeah.
I am going to be moving on. So I would like that, let's assume the child in her school that's next to my daughter in the exams,
Okay.
whether she could have her place. Because there were kids who did not make it.
Wow.
So I volunteered to give my daughter's spot to another child. And I came to St. Lucia. I came to St. Lucia, and ladies and gentlemen, I know you're listening and I want you to listen and I want you to understand that we look at a lot of things. We look at a lot. But if we think a lot and look at less things, we can't get somewhere in life. I came to St. Lucia with two young kids. One was 12 and one was 13, with $35 in my purse. When we hit the airport in Barbados and they wanted water, I went to price the water. It was almost the cost of what I had in my purse, and I said, we'll have to do without the water because there's a long wait between Grenada and St. Lucia. We have to wait at the airport for about 3 hours or so. And we made it home. I stayed with a cousin of mine for a few months, trying to get work, and nobody's giving me work. One said to me, if you say you can sing, we'll have to audition you and whatever. I never got the night, and it went on like that. So I had to do something. And I must admit, I have a few skills. I do flower arranging, I sew, I cook, I bake, I do stuff. Nobody could knock me. Don't try. Because in trying to knock me, you'll knock yourself.
All right now.
So I took to baking. And I would not get paid they had their times for paying, but sometimes there was snags in getting your check and so on. Landlords want to kick me out because I'm not paying my bills, but I know I'm working and I have to get the money at some point.
Yeah.
And I have to turn over every day, and I don't have the money to turn over. So the thought was to bake more. So after I delivered to my main outlets, I would have a basket of pastries. I would go to all the offices you could think of. Here was one of the places I came. I went to tourist board. I went to the police station. I went to the health center. I went lower down to other places, Lucilec, and I did it. I had the money for my kids to do stuff. Then initially when we just came back and I started baking, my kids would go to school with what I baked. So, Mom, all the kids are wanting our lunch. All the kids are wanting this and they're wanting that. So I said, okay. I got two separate containers. One was in convent and one was in Hess. And I baked enough for that container and that. And I said, that's your pocket money. They went to school. You're not allowed to sell on the premises.
Yeah.
So the news I got would be like, Mom, before we left the bus, it was all sold out. So they got their pocket money from that.
Oh, my God.
Okay. And then I got my monies turn over and to provide the meals and so on. And it grew and grew.
Oh.
I remember one day I lived at Bonse, and I remember walking down to the shops after being up like from 1 o'clock. I was up at 1 o'clock every morning, and I wasn't finished until 7. I delivered my stuff. I did more shopping after I did my other sales.
For sure.
And I would go home and prepare what's for dinner, what's for whatever. And, I sort of just, eventually, it's like things were growing on me. And I had opportunities to really expand, but I did not want to expand because I wanted to also have space to give my kids the quality time that they would need. I couldn't give them 100%.
For sure.
But I gave them a little more than 50.
Okay.
And eventually, I bought me a little car. Betsy.
All right, Rap.
I first started calling it from here to there. That was enough for me.
Yeah.
But then eventually we gave her a name, Betsy. She was not an old car, but she was used in a very nice way. Okay. And Betsy did it for me. So that's how I came here and other places and so on. So it's like you could grow if you put your head to it. It was not easy. There were times I would not make it on time for the bank.
For sure.
I have to apologize there and ask for things there.
Yeah.
But it happened. The sacrifices were in people not understanding and because you're in a predicament, people love that,
For sure.
Figure this chicken in a yard.
Yeah.
And there's this vulnerable cockroach. Doesn't stand a chance, right?
Right.
Okay. That's the picture. So if you're vulnerable, everybody pounces on you. Mm-hmm. Nobody stops to think. Everybody gives you names. You don't pay your bills and you don't do this. But that's part of the journey.
Come on. Whoo, Miss Patsy, you ain't gonna rush that one. You got me country over here now. Wow.
That's part of the journey.
Whew. Didn't I tell you were in for a treat? Didn't I tell you that this is going to be a night that we're going to have a master class? He's already telling me to take a break, so you know what? I'm going to be obedient because I need him for a long time. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more Talk to Tongie and Miss Patsy Cadet. Good. Be right back. From studio to street, Patsy's voice echoes beyond lyrics.
My window curtains swing. I'm lying on my sofa, just thinking of you. How lucky we've been to find each other in all the clutter in this crazy world we're in. And I will love you always and forever. I will care for you and cherish you, and we will be together. We found each other. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hip, 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 hooray. We found each other. Yeah, yeah, and now love's here to stay.
We are back. Thank you so much again. I do not take it lightly or for granted for you allowing us to come into your ear gate, your eye gate. I never, ever want you to think that I take what you do for this show and the support of this show and what you do for me for granted. I am so eternally blessed I am to have you as a part of my tapestry. We're here with this amazing soul that has just given us a snippet of what perseverance looks like, what fortitude looks like, what doing what you say and doing what you say you're going to do looks like. You know, you speak volumes of a person that's on a mission. and you are living life out loud and in purpose. And that to me is an amazing place to be in life. You spoke about how it was not easy. And Miss Patsy, anybody can, and I say this vernacular here, anybody can shout and talk about how good God is when the bills are met and you got a few $100,000, $1,000, $100 in the bank, and everything is going well. But on those times when you did had to count the cost, make certain that you had enough for your babies, what were some of the things that you would say to yourself when nobody's listening?
On a daily basis, I would be thinking, how did I do it? How did yesterday happen? You know? How did yesterday happen? What else can I do to do better? Because, I mean, I was born to be independent.
Yeah.
And for some unknown reason, I have never had that support, that other, you know, it's like I always had to do 75% by myself.
Come on.
You know? And I ensured that I was like, you don't get up and do stuff alone.
Yeah.
There are things you have to have,
For sure.
you know?
For sure.
But I'm always alone in it.
Wow.
Okay, is that my calling? So my thoughts would be to wake up the next day. Wake up the next day, see the children off to school. They have got something in their lunch kits. Then I have to do other things to get other things to happen.
Come on.
So I'd go back with my baskets to the shops. I've encountered people who want to know what is in my product. This lady stood up. She bought a patty. She broke it. And she studied it. Studied it because, yeah, they want to see, like, you could, if you're baking, you would see what the person has.
For sure.
So you taste it.
Yeah.
And she gives it back and says, I don't want that. It's too small.
You know. Are you serious?
And I'm standing there, but she doesn't know she's playing around with my product. So I said to her, why is it too small? That wouldn't fill my belly. I said, then you need some dasheen.
Come on.
You know?
I know too about a dashing, baby.
You don't need a party.
Yeah.
So you don't come by a party and
Come on.
complain. But then you see them somewhere else selling the same stuff that you've been making, you know.
Wow.
So it's like you learn to live with that and laugh at it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then you feel, well, you are doing something for somebody else. You know, people would go like, oh, why she cannot leave that for somebody else to do and so on. Because they feel that I'm privileged.
Wow.
And yes, maybe I am privileged
Yes, you
because
are,
yes, I am. You know?
Yeah, man.
But you have to stick to your corner and let me do my thing. You know?
Yes, ma'am.
I know what I'm doing. I'm not
Come on.
stealing anything from you. I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning and I spent how many hours in the kitchen and I'm doing my thing. So don't pretend I took anything from you.
Come on.
Why should I leave it for you?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So this is how I would wake up and I know I have to keep moving. I have everything happening in precision.
Yeah.
I have my kids going according to a lot of timing.
Yeah.
We would even time. You wake up at what time, how long it takes you to shower, how long this, walk to the road and wait for the person who's picking you up to give you the ride to school.
Yeah.
And everything was like, this is how it happened.
Wow. Ay. I want to segue because if you didn't learn from that, shame on you. I want to segue into this amazing music and this soulful way that you have a way of just making us feel. You're a storyteller. You know that, right? You are. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. What should music do for the soul? What should it do?
A lot. Yeah, we have to play on. Because I'll tell you, even thinking of my mom. I'm in Grenada. Wednesday night, I'm supposed to be performing at the Rex.
Okay.
And I'm at the mirror, putting on my makeup, my phone rings, and the message is my mom has passed.
Right.
So I go on to my job. It's a job. And there are people involved on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm not letting anybody down. So I went out and I did my nights. And I traveled the next morning. But the music was able to fog my mind for a while. You know? A lot of people have little issues and they just blast their music. They don't just put on music. They have to have it blaring because it is doing something to them. It's erasing something, you know? And I tend to believe that without music, people would be very barren. I recall in my first marriage, because I had two families, I decided one day, this is not working out. I'm putting too much into nothing. And I'm out. I have to sing the night, but I called a taxi. Because I want to say a lot without saying too much.
I got you.
So
We're going to protect Jilty.
I called a taxi and I moved to my mom's little apartment in the CDC in Castries. I'm very proud of that. I had somewhere to go.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah? It was somewhere I was taking care of for my mom, but I had that to go to. And I did all my stuff. My mom never knew I had problems. I did what I had to do. I told her I'll talk to you another time and so on and so on. And I got dressed and I went out to sing. And he was supposed to be my manager.
Ouch.
But he was mismanaging a lot of stuff. And then he says to his friends, that woman is a bee. I never heard her sing as good as she did tonight.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
So music does that to you. Music is like, you know.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes I don't play music at all. You'd not even think that I'm into it at all because it's like, I do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of little things. I'm always doing stuff, you know.
Sure.
But it is there.
It is there.
It is there. When you need it, you tap for it.
Oh.
You know, it's like you don't see God, but you pray to Him.
Come on.
The music is there. You think it's a part of your life. You know, it's a part of my life.
That's what it does for
Yes.
the soul. Wow. That's what it does for the soul. Wow. So now you're walking in your purpose. You're performing and you're on the stage and you're being a part of history. What do you want the other folk that you're mentoring? You may not even know that you are, and you may be purposely mentoring people, but what do you want the people that are coming up in this generation? What do you want them to know about being a performer, about showing up, about perseverance? What is that?
Okay. You don't segregate being a performer from life. My personal experience is this. There's performing, there's money, there's spending, there's saving, whatever. There was never enough coming in for me to do the lavish.
Okay.
Okay? So I always learned. Like I said earlier, I'm capable, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I could make me a dress.
Okay, now.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And in those days, like let's say in the 60s, we had these hairstyles, the bouffant. I did it myself.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Then I do the nails myself. There were times, of course,
For sure.
you know.
For sure.
But you have to be able to be versatile
Okay.
to bring out your product.
Okay.
You just don't take singing on the stage. You know, what helps you to get on the stage? The saving of the money there.
Yeah.
You know, so it gives you a little bit of a mental freedom.
For sure.
You know, I have had a shoe ride that I enjoyed. I enjoyed wearing in the days we had brogues.
Yeah.
Like those platforms.
Yes.
Bell platforms.
Yeah.
And it was a favorite shoe, and something went wrong with it, and I sat down and I thought how to fix that shoe.
What?
And I went. I'm saying that because I do not mind laughing at myself.
Come on.
Because it's for good reason.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think I could teach people stuff, right?
All right now.
So I went to this carpenter because of what the heel was made of, and it was breaking up, I saw.
Yeah.
And I gathered some of the how will I call it? The shavings from the saw.
Okay.
Not from the plane, but from the saw.
Okay.
And I got me my cement, shoe cement, and I mixed the two, and I patched up where.
You know, Miss Patsy.
And I recovered my shoe,
Yeah.
and I stripped down the road, and nobody knew I had sawdust.
That's what I'm talking about. This woman right here. Oh my God. He keeps saying break, and I'm like, what? Well, I swear to you, we're going to be right back with this phenomenal soul. Sawdust from her shoe. How about that? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Legacy is not just what we leave behind. It's what we inspire today. Don't wait to give your voice. Someone is listening. We are back. I feel like I just want this night to go on. I don't know about you, but man, St. Lucia, we got it going on, man. Yeah, we do. And we're spending this amazing evening with this phenomenal soul, Miss Patsy Cadet. Yeah, did I say that right? Good. I want to ask you this. What legacy do you personally want? Because you're living a legacy now. What do you want to be remembered for?
Oh boy. I want to be remembered for the little things I may have done for the person, the passerby. Because some taxi men were laughing at me one day. I saw this lady crossing the road, and there was so much traffic. And she was really walking like a sloth. She couldn't really do it. All tattered and so on, but I thought somebody has to help her.
Oh.
And that's not too long ago, but that's how I am.
Yes, ma'am.
And I held her hand, and I helped her cross the road. I picked up her bag. I carried it across the road. And somebody there knew me, and they started laughing and saying, but look what Patsy Cadet is doing. It's like, why not? I have done stuff like that all of my life. Yeah. I don't pass anybody who is down. Yeah. You know, I recall one day, I was walking this road in the back of Barclays Bank. Okay. I don't recall the name presently. And I was walking there, and I heard a din, a very loud something that happened. Yeah. And I looked back, and I saw a man in agony. He had just been buying some galvanized sheets, and he did not secure it properly. And one of them slid down and cut his heel off. Jeez. And everybody was watching, and I thought, but somebody do something.
Right.
And this man is standing there. I said, I need your belt. Let me have your belt now. And he's looking at me, and I need your belt. And I had to tie up that man's foot with the belt. And I called somebody to get somebody to take this man to the hospital.
Sure.
And, and this is how, I'm sorry, I cannot be different.
Come on.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And I want people to know that we have to have love, we have to have empathy, we have to have concern for others.
Yeah.
I will give of my last dollar at the moment that I think somebody needs it much more than I need it. Because you know why? I don't know where it's going to come from. But I give it knowing that I'll get it back. Not from that person. Because if I have to get from the people, you do for people because they need your assistance. And if you're doing it to get back, then you're not really doing it with a good heart, right?
Right.
I want to be remembered for giving love to people. You will not know if I have a problem because I will cover yours. I'll help you to laugh. You have to be very close to me to know if something is going on with me because you will not know otherwise. In a sense, it's my downfall because I remember my landlady following me to J.Q. Charles because I was bringing my products to sell. But the system is you don't get paid as you give it.
For sure.
You pass it over, you check it out and so on, and you get your container back and you move on. And she was spying on me because she felt I was getting money and not paying my rent. I was not being truant deliberately.
For sure.
It's like it was a system I fell into. Everybody has problems, and I fell into another person's problem. Okay? I still did not stop taking stuff to them.
Come on.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I want to be remembered not for the negative things that people have formulated against me, which actually I don't care.
Ha.
I'm not going to crumble. I have a lot to live for. I've got grandchildren. I've got 7 grands only from my first 2 kids. The last 2 have not given me any. So I have much more to look forward to. And, I'm going to say, don't even try.
Yeah.
Always remember me as the person whom you can turn to anytime, even if you don't like me.
Ooh, good.
You can turn to me anytime.
Amen.
Even if it's for a word of encouragement, even if it is for contacting somebody for you, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I am there for you.
Oh, my God, Miss Patsy.
No, it's...
Oh, I just want this night to go on and on. How much time we got? Wow. Ay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for every tear that you've ever cried.
A lady said to me once, Patsy, you have to try to stop crying.
I know you do.
I said, what? She says, you'll find out. Do you know I suffer from severe dry eyes? So one day I had to ask the eye doctor, it's like, why dry eyes make your eye water?
Yeah,
Doesn't
right?
make sense, right?
That makes sense. Wow.
But that's one of the symptoms. But yes,
Thank you.
I cry for people. I cry. Why do I cry? I just cry. It's emotions, Sometimes I have built up emotions, or sometimes I have so much empathy.
Yeah.
It goes both ways, And I just feel people.
Yeah.
I feel for people,
Yeah.
And I want... If I could, I'd change a lot of things in the world, but I can't.
For sure.
So I just have to slide along with a lot of things. But I have an open heart.
Yep.
I'm not a fool. Don't think so for 1 minute.
All right now. Yes,
Don't get it twisted.
I love this lady.
But
right here.
I'm there for you guys. I'm
Wow.
there for you.
Oh, St. Lucia, I don't know about you, honey, but didn't your heart burn? Would you do something for me as we're coming to a close this evening? And I'm trying to be real cool here, but makeup is just going everywhere. Would you say yes? Would you say yes to life? Would you try one more time? Would you give him your dreams, your hopes, your desires, and be okay when he gives them back to you and it doesn't look like your dreams, your hope, or your desire. My prayer for you this evening is that you have gleaned from our very own Queen. I pray that you laugh more than you've ever cried. I pray that you give yourself the same grace and mercy that you extend to everyone else. And I pray that you will love yourself just like you do your neighbor, that you'll speak well of yourself, and that you know all is well. Good night. Thank you for allowing me in your ear gate, your eye gate. And I want her to just sing one song before he cuts me off. So I'll say thank you so much, Linda. Thank you for being the best part of this amazing journey that I get to live every single day. Bun Bun, I love you. Good night. Kaden, Kendrick, Idris, Fran. Take us away, my lovely.
Oh, my
Anything you
goodness.
want to say before he cut us off.
Say something.
Anything.
Okay. I just want to say to St. Lucians and to those of you who know of me in diaspora, thank you for having supported me in the past. Everywhere I go, somebody says, my dad used to, my mom used to, and I was this little, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm that old, you know. But I want you to just like feel good about yourselves, do good for others. I will keep thanking you and keep thinking of you because you are part of what made me, because I couldn't do it alone, right?
Would you sing?
Oh my goodness.
Just an excerpt. Just an excerpt.
I could spend my life just loving you. If you could learn to fall in love with me, though you don't know how much it hurts just loving you. I'm not the laughing child I used to be. Not at all, right?
Oh, good night, St. Lucia.